Good morning. My name is Amalia Deligiannis, and I'm the editor of Plumbing Engineer magazine. This is day 2 of the AHR Expo in Las Vegas. We are here again for another episode of PHCPPPros Live. With me this morning, I have 2 special guests from Lochinvar, Dan Rettig and Jennifer Russell. First, we're going to do a tag team approach in today's conversation because there's just 2 seats with us right here. And we're going to start with Dan. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Good. Can you tell the people a little bit about your role at Lochinvar and what you do and help your clients?
Yeah.
How you help your clients?
Yeah. So, product manager. So
Okay.
I got responsibilities for our commercial water heaters and our commercial heat pump water heating line. What do I do? Work a lot with our end users, contractors, engineering community. Try to get feedback from them, and what kind of products do they need, to satisfy their customers' demands. If we don't have something in our offering, we evaluate that and then come up with a way to bring that to market. So really, I'm kind of driving what they're telling us with our engineering department to make sure, okay, that's what we actually build, and then we'll take it back to them as that process goes on and say, hey, is this really what we need? And then hopefully that leads to successful launch and good product for the end user.
Well, that's a great role. You're a very important element to the company. Tell us a little bit more about Lochinvar in general.
Oh, yeah, so Lochinvar, a lot of people don't know this if they're not familiar with Lochinvar, but we're actually an American company located in Middle Tennessee. We're about 30 minutes east of Nashville, right off 40 East. So we manufacture high-efficiency boilers, water heaters, pool heaters. We do package systems, so prefabricated systems that then ship out to the field, so there's just minimal work that has to be done on the contractor side on the installation. Saves them money and time for that process. And we're actually, when you look at our product portfolio, we have the largest product portfolio as far as from, an 80,000 BTU boiler all the way up to a 5 million BTU boiler, and then we go all the way up to 4 million on the domestic hot water heater.
Oh, wow. So I know that we want to talk about one of your latest releases, your commercial heat pump water line in July of 2020. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so, kind of in our, reaching out to our customers, our engineering community, some of our sales reps, and just kind of seeing what products we were missing, is coming back, that, hey, we really need some kind of heat pump solution for domestic hot water. There's a lot of requests for that with all the local legislation and codes being implemented. So we did release that product right after, it was in July, probably right after the 4th of July we released that. And so that product offering is an air source model and a water source model. So what we're doing with the air source is we grab the heat from the ambient air and then put that into the refrigeration system and then reject those BTUs into the domestic hot water. So water source, we're doing the same thing. We're stealing BTUs from a water source. Typically it's going to be a geothermal loop or maybe a chiller rejection loop.
Okay.
And those units range anywhere from 60,000 BTUs all the way up to 2 million BTUs on the water source side. And then we go up to 250,000 BTUs on the air source side.
Wow. And what type of interest have potential clients have expressed in this product?
Oh, yeah, well, it's definitely we've got several people internally working with the customers on that, but there's been a lot of interest. So when we first released that, we knew there was going to be some interest out on the West Coast, California, up in Washington, New York City, but really, I mean, it's been throughout the country, right? We've had customers reach out to us and say, hey, we want to learn more about this. It's not new technology. Heat pump technology is not new. I mean, if you look around here, there's all kinds of heat pumps, right? But it's applying that for, domestic hot water usage. So I've been trying to educate our engineering community who's used to gas appliances. How's the heat pump work? How do we apply the heat pump? So it's been good on that education, but it's a challenge because, again, it's trying to introduce a new technology to our side of the industry.
So speaking about education, because of the pandemic, I know companies across the board have been restricted. How have you gone about educating engineers or people who are interested in your product during these times?
Oh, yeah, so most of us have became like Zoom experts, right? we've before the pandemic, you would say we struggle with Zoom, but we've done a lot of things with Zoom, a lot of training. Especially with like the heat pumps, our local reps or sales managers will reach out to us and we'll set up Zoom webinars, about 20 people for an engineering firm, which is good because typically, you may not even get all those, especially when you have those firms that are spread out throughout the country.
Right.
So they may be a branch in Los Angeles, a branch in New York, and we can get them all in the same location, which we couldn't have done without using the Zoom technology.
Oh, so there was one benefit of
Yes.
the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
You can reach more people in less time.
Yeah.
I guess, can you talk a little bit about the sizing and applying a heat pump water heater compared to a traditional gas water pump?
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
glad you asked that, because that's probably one of the biggest obstacles we've had through this process, because what everybody's used to with like a forced circulation gas appliance is, they can have large BTUs, you don't have to have a lot of storage, but with the heat pump technology, it just doesn't have the output that the gas appliances do. So typically you're going to have a larger tank, smaller BTUs on the heat pump, so it's going to take longer for that tank to run. So some obstacles we have, like if you look at New York, an older city, they don't have room for a lot of large storage tanks. So we're trying to work through that process. How do we apply that in that sizing? So it's just a lot of back and forth on the sizing, but a lot of people are understanding it. So just yesterday we had a lot of conversations at the booth over here with people, and everybody was, a lot of people that are looking at the technology understand, hey, it needs more storage, but then other people, as you explain it to them, it makes sense to them why they need more storage.
Okay, so it's like, I'm a relative newbie to the area, so why is sizing so important when it comes to, installing these or designing these systems?
Do you like taking a cold shower?
No, I do not.
Okay, so yeah, we want to make sure that that's sized correctly. So because if we don't have enough storage, right?
Yeah.
Say if, like this morning, woke up at the hotel, took a shower. So if I wasn't the first guy to take a shower, or lady to take a shower, and it wasn't sized correctly, if I was the 10th or 15th, I'd be taking a cold shower. So we want to make sure that we do that just right.
So
and plus with the new technology, we don't want it to kind of get off to a bad start, right? So we want to make sure everything's done correctly.
That's great. Does Lochinvar have any plans to expand their product offering?
Well, I get
commercial heat pump offering in general?
Yeah, so that's another good question. So through our conversations with everybody, right now our product is for domestic hot water. So we do get a lot of requests for hydronic heating.
All right.
So that's obviously, over 50% of our business is hydronic heating. So that's a fair question, we get asked that. So we're evaluating those things, try to see what that market is. How do we take our current technology, move that over to the hydronic heating? Jennifer, who's going to be up next, is our segment manager for decarbonization. So she's actually leading the process of us evaluating the different options and the market potential for hydronic heating.
All right, well, thank you for your time. That's a perfect segue to introduce Jennifer. While they switch gears, I will tell you that our next speaker from Lochinvar, or my next guest, is Jennifer Russell. And as Jennifer takes a seat, here we are. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me today.
Glad to.
Tell me your role. You are Segment Development Manager for Decarbonization at Lochinvar. Can you explain to our viewers what you do specifically for the company?
Sure. Well, I'm responsible for creating the product roadmap within that segment, and then I oversee the teams that are developing the products that are on our roadmap.
Oh, okay. So, can you talk about any trends in the market related to decarbonization efforts?
Sure, yeah. There's three things we talk about almost daily right now.
Okay.
So that's greenhouse gas emission reduction.
Okay.
That's a big one. Demand response and low GWP refrigerants.
Okay.
Yeah, so several states and many cities, mainly in the Western U.S. now, but some in the East Coast, like New York City, for example, they're working to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, through things like natural gas bans. That's just one approach. And we expect we're going to see that probably continue as a trend. More cities, more states will pick up different approaches to try to reduce carbon.
So how does Lochinvar flex themselves or show their flexibility when you have different areas of the country trying to meet decarbonization at different points? How do you address that?
Yeah, it's certainly difficult when you've got different areas doing different things, but we've got a fantastic product portfolio of high efficiency products that will meet the need. And like I said, we're looking at the future and where that takes us. So we're going to have the right products for where the market's going, even though it's a little more difficult when it's kind of on the state and city level. But we're prepared.
All right. Can you talk a little bit about demand response or load shifting? As a newbie, I would like to know a little more, and I'm sure everyone else would as well.
Well, sure, yeah. So as we see gas products transition to electric, that puts a big demand on the electric grid.
Right.
So one way that you can help that is by shifting when that demand on the grid takes place,
Okay.
so that you don't have everyone needing electric usage at the same time. Well, water storage tanks, they can really act like a battery, whether it's in a residential home, so a smaller tank, or a large commercial building with a very large tank. It's a great way to store energy that you can then use later. So that's how the demand response works. So it's a
fantastic.
good way to help offload some of the demand on the grid as we transition to electric products.
Great. So is that energy specifically saved for like the Lochinvar products, or can it be
Yeah.
used across the board?
No. It's for hot water. So you're
Okay,
just
so great, yes.
you're storing your hot water to
All
use
right.
later.
All right. And is I'm assuming product savings, how much save? Because you are saving money with demand response and load shifting. I mean, do you have any numbers in terms of what percentage people can expect in terms of savings?
Well, it's all fairly new. So no,
Okay.
I don't have anything that I can share with you today. But I
Okay,
think
that's-
as we deploy this and we learn a lot more, absolutely. Because when the demand on the grid is high, you're going to see some of your highest prices.
Right.
So when you shift that usage to a time when your demand is low, you're also going to be using energy from the grid at a lower price point.
Okay, that's
So yes, absolutely, it's going to have an impact.
Yeah.
We'll see more as this unfolds.
Exactly. Great. So, can you tell us a little bit about if anyone is interested in learning more about Lochinvar, where can they go?
Oh yeah, well our website is a great place to start.
Okay.
And that's lochinvar.com. Easy
Fantastic.
to find. We've got a rep network across the country, so there is absolutely someone in no matter what area you're in that can help give you more information if you need more.
Okay. And if someone would, if a person or a company would like some education, and is that the same network to go through?
Right, yeah, back to our
training.
Yeah, absolutely. Our rep network does training. We have in-house training through Lochinvar University. We have actually a fantastic training center.
Okay.
And again, on our website, you can find more information about that as well. We've got some really good programs for training.
Perfect, perfect. And here at the booth today, you are in Central Hall, booth C2524. So if anyone at the expo would like to stop by and visit Lochinvar, please do so. Jennifer, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Dan, thank you so much for your time as well. Everyone, we will take a short break before our next interview. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.